Worst case scenario, he's at the airport. I got the beer. All over.
Yeah, really quick on a picture. What you might look at.
Why don't we put a ball? See, just the need a little bit.
Covers up a country and they parse all that. Oh.
it is. I myself did a PhD, so at that time I was already in Michigan. I used to go to Michigan. Hey, Rocky, are you doing anything?
Yeah, it's not the problem.
Where you hide out?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura Bloomberg, Dean of the Humphrey School of Public Affairs, and on behalf of the entire Humphrey School, including our remarkable professional staff who have worked so hard to make today's event truly special, I welcome you to today's commencement exercises. A sincere thank you to University of Minnesota Regent Ken Powell for presiding over the conferral of degrees today. And I also welcome Vice Provost and Dean of Graduate Education, Scott Lanyon. Both are tremendous friends of the Humphrey School and supporters, and we're so glad that they're here today to celebrate with us. And graduates, you look awesome out there, by the way. You are surrounded here today by all of these important people in the auditorium, the people who love you most of the time, who are so proud of you all of the time, and who have worked so hard alongside of you to support you as you have reached this great accomplishment. For all the parents and spouses and children and partners, extended family members, and good, cherished friends out here in the audience today, how about you all give them a round of applause and thank them for what they have done. I'd also like to recognize the Humphrey School faculty who are here on the stage with me today. Graduate, these are the individuals, the educators, and advisors who have helped you to get to this point today. And these are the folks collectively who will be here to encourage you, to advocate for you, to recommend you for jobs, and in many cases to become your long-term friends, mentors, and colleagues. When our guests came into the auditorium today, they may have noticed the slides behind me, both of Humphrey Schools in action all over the world, and also slides highlighting some of the great accomplishments of our esteemed professors. These world-renowned faculty, and I mean that, world-renowned faculty, are largely responsible and account for the fact that we are a top 10 institution among some 300 public affairs schools ranked nationally. For those of you who passed statistics, you'll know that that's about the top 3%, right? You just did this, but let's do this once again. Please join me in thanking these terrific scholars for all they have done to help you be successful and all they will do to help you be successful as you go out into the world. And I'd like to take just a moment to recognize this place where we are. We're seated here in the Ted Mann Theater, situated, this is for all of our guests in the auditorium, situated on what we call the west bank of the University of Minnesota. We're situated right next to the mighty Mississippi River and just down the street from the Humphrey School of Public Affairs, where these graduates have spent so much of their time in recent years. All of these structures, the Humphrey School, Ted Mann, the buildings in between, and subsequently all of us today are situated on historic and sacred Dakota homelands. And if you ask me, of course I'm biased, but this place, rich with our cultural and historic and natural history, nestled up next to one of the world's most beautiful and one of the world's most fragile waterways, and on this layered land that carries so much human history, is a perfect place to study and prepare for careers in public life, to be students of global and US-based public policy, international development practice, human rights, urban and regional planning, and science, technology, and environmental policy, to become students of public service. And I mention this to you today because I believe place matters substantially. As our graduates all know, this school community, this Humphrey School community here in this place is enriched because our students come to us from places all over the world. They come to us from all over Minnesota, all over the country, and in fact, all parts of the globe. As you walked into the auditorium today, you may have also noticed, and if you didn't, you can notice now, there are flags hanging on both sides of the auditorium down here by the stage, and these represent the home countries of our graduates from just this year. Parents and visitors, if you go into the Humphrey School while you're here in town, you will also notice flags hanging in our commons area, and these represent the flags of our students over the last 5 years, and there are many, many of them. We are a better school because of the geographic and place-based diversity of our academic community. So graduates, it's a simple idea, but a lifetime endeavor to understand how the places you've been, however temporarily, the places you call home, the places you've been here while you've been a student at the Humphrey School of Public Affairs, to think about how they have shaped you, and to determine how you will in turn choose to shape the places where you will go and the people who will inhabit those places. Today, your day of commencement, is a good day to ponder this. How will you draw on the experiences you've had and the connections you've made here in this place? How will you nurture the connections you've made and the friendships you've forged? And how will you use them to shape your personal goals and your professional goals as you set about making the world a better place? How will you choose to live into your vision of yourself as an innovative leader advancing the common good in a diverse and changing world? The truly impressive work of our Humphrey alums over several years give those of us up here on the stage who have seen many graduates cross this stage, gives us some sense of the great work you will now do, graduating class of 2019. And we are all so eager to hear about your leadership in the future. And as we think about your emerging leadership, we look back over these past couple of years, and in fact, in the past few weeks, as you've all been wrapping up term papers and capstone projects and assignments, you know that the school community has also been recognizing and celebrating some of the exemplary work that you have undertaken. And at this time, I would like to invite my colleague, Associate Dean Carissa Slaughterbeck, to the stage to talk a little bit about how we've been celebrating those accomplishments in recent weeks and, in fact, this morning.
Thank you, Dean Bloomberg, and good afternoon, graduates, family, and friends. I want to take a moment to acknowledge our academic and leadership awards, as well as our outstanding instructors. The names of these awards and the criteria for which they are given are listed on the back of your program for reference. Earlier today, we honored these amazing students and faculty members at our Humphrey School Awards brunch. Thank you to all who were able to attend. Behind me, you will see a list of this year's honorees. If you were recognized with an award this year, please stand up. Congratulations. I now have the pleasure of introducing this year's student speaker, Rachel Dame. Rachel is a natural leader who recently finished up her tenure as president of the Humphrey School's Public Affairs Student Association. A native of North Carolina, Rachel completed her undergrad at North Carolina State. She has interned for a variety of prestigious organizations, including the U.S. Olympic Committee, the Stimson Center in Washington, D.C., and the U.S. State Department. After graduating today with a master's in public policy, concentrating on global policy, Rachel will head to Albania on a Fulbright fellowship. Please join me in welcoming Rachel Dame. Thank you.
So the first thing I have written down on my piece of paper is if you trip walking to the podium, say, "I'm a professional, do not try this at home." So I haven't tripped, so I'm gonna move to the next thing on my piece of paper. And it says, "Rachel, say the generic commencement speech welcome." So in true commencement speech fashion, generic welcome to faculty, staff, friends, family, and fellow classmates. When I was selected as commencement speaker, I felt immense pressure to represent the entirety of the student body in my speech. I thought this speech had to be funny, it needed to be memorized, and everyone needed to have this great takeaway. But there is no way I can do justice for such a diverse student body. So I'm going to share a few of my own reflections on the Humphrey experience. If there is one thing that I have learned, it is that Humphrey could be located anywhere. And for me, it would be located somewhere warmer. But it's not the location that makes the experience, it is the relationships. Whether it is a positive or negative relationship, we have still managed to grow. My growth from relationships has me standing here today speaking about a topic that affects me daily. I have never publicly spoken about mental health. And one thing that people don't realize is that I struggle with chronic anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, and depression. It's really a trifecta. So I think some of my classmates that are in my econ or regression would know that I have test anxiety. I also have written down on this piece of paper, contingency plan. If you're too anxious to talk about mental health, move to paragraph 5. But you know what? I'm not going to move to paragraph 5 today. I'm going to talk about mental health. Thank you. So bringing it before I came to Humphrey, naturally applying to graduate school is an anxiety-inducing experience. So I applied to 9 graduate schools. And as I attended the spring visit days of other schools, I was disillusioned with their student body's desire to undermine their classmates to achieve personal success. This was a stark contrast to my visit day at Humphrey. Students and professors at Humphrey were concerned with this term called the collective good. Students kept saying, I care more about the collective good rather than my own individual success. What initially attracted me to Humphrey was the quirkiness and the kindness of the student body. You cannot teach people to be kind. That is an intrinsic quality. I feel at home here. To me, everyone at Humphrey has always seemed like a character on a TV show, including the professors. So I've really always felt like a character myself, and this is the cast that I wanted to join. Humphrey is the first cast of characters where classmates and professors talk openly about mental health. Humphrey professors created a culture where mental health does not impede a student's ability to learn. Because of the relationships with my peers and my professors, I'm no longer afraid to talk about mental health. With this newfound confidence, I now talk about my struggles with my friends outside of Humphrey. This is a conversation that I have never had before. In these relationships, both in and out of Humphrey, I realized that I'm not alone. In fact, I was never alone. Not only have I grown in these conversations, but so has everyone else in my community. But out of the multitude of topics that trigger anxiety in this speech for me, it's not the discussion of mental health, it's the conversation of race. I also have written down again, contingency plan, skip to paragraph 10, but I'm not gonna skip because this is a very important conversation. In these needed conversations, I'm always afraid that I'm going to say the wrong thing. And if there is one thing that Humphrey has taught me, is that these courageous conversations, they are necessary. It is clear to me that when I came to Humphrey, I did not understand the depth of race relations in America. I still have so much more to learn. It is going to be a lifetime of growth for me. But it is in my relationships, in the classroom, in the study room, in the bar, in my home. And I really think that these are the only places I've gone for the past 2 years. The bar, my home, and the classroom. But it's in these places that I've come to contemplate how race plays a role in our society. It is only in being surrounded by my peers that this growth has occurred. My personal growth is intertwined with our ability to grow as a collective. It is not the facts or the figures that move us forward. It is our commitment to relationships that allow us to progress. It is nearly impossible to pinpoint one specific example of growth over the past 2 years. I believe that growth occurs over time. It is not something that is instantaneous. However, in the last 2 years, I've watched my classmates grow. I've seen classmates that never spoke during the first semester build lasting relationships in Humphrey. These relationships gave my peers the courage to speak about the issues they care about, just as I am doing today. Their ability to open up in conversation allowed me to see my own ambitions as achievable. Specifically, as mentioned, I'm a global policy concentration here at Humphrey. When I entered the Humphrey School of Public Affairs, I did not think global policy was a profession that was attainable for me. I did not believe that I had the capacity for the demands of this field. But through the courage of my fellow classmates, I decided to no longer hide behind my own anxiety, but pursue a field that I am passionate about. So thank you to my classmates, and thank you to my professors. You had the courage to open up. I didn't know how to enter the field of global policy, or if I would, but the classroom skills, personal growth, and relationships have allowed me to make my dreams a reality. But what is all this talk about growth and relationships for? What was our motivation for attending public policy school? And although many of our friends and family here today think that we're studying politics instead of public policy, they may ask us, what is public policy? Well, let me tell you what public policy is. Public policy is striving to better the communities that we live and work within. And the only way to better our communities is through relationships. So if you have not gotten it by now, the theme of this speech is that we grow through relationships. So as we move into the next phase of our lives, we must continue to grow our relationships. We need to carry out the mission of Humphrey. And that mission is to inspire, educate, and support innovative leaders to advance the common good in a diverse world. We need to remember the common good only advances when we grow individually through the exposure to the personal experience of others. And the only way this exposure happens is through relationships. So although we may be walking out of Humphrey as different people, we need to acknowledge the relationships that brought us to Humphrey in the first place. Whether that person was a family member or a friend or faculty, we need to say thank you. And for me personally, it was my family. They were often the brunt of my struggles with mental health, and so to them, I want to say thank you. And finally, I want to say thank you to the faculty and staff at Humphrey. These relationships were cultivated because of the culture that you established within the school. And the only way these relationships will continue is through your commitment to advancing the common good. So here's to you, fellow classmates. It is because of our relationships that we have grown. The relationships we built in Humphrey, they do not end today. They only progress as we move forward. And we need to continue to value and grow our relationships. Congratulations, 2019 Humphrey School of Public Affairs graduates.
I'm going to take a second to collect myself after that. That was beautiful. Thank you, Rachel. In a moment, you will get to meet our esteemed commencement speaker, Ms. Laisha Ward. But first, we have the rare and distinct privilege of bestowing on Ms. Ward the highest honor conferred by the University of Minnesota, an honorary doctorate of laws degree for public service. The honorary doctorate degree The honorary doctorate degree is only ever awarded to an individual who has achieved widely recognized preeminence in the area of cultural affairs in public service or in a field of knowledge and scholarship. Laisha Ward is Executive Vice President and Chief External Engagement Officer at Target, an organization she has been with for 28 years. She has been recognized often for her tremendous contributions to this community and around the world. She is the recipient of countless awards for her work, and I won't go into those details because you can read about those in your program. Instead, I would like to focus not on what Laisha has received, but on who I believe she is, because this is at the heart of why I personally believe she is so very deserving of this recognition. Ms. Ward has demonstrated that she will not rest until more women, more people of color, and representatives of other underrepresented communities are fully represented across all sectors, in all roles, and at all levels. In that pursuit, Laisha has used her worldwide platform and visibility to challenge practices and education systems that allow persistent achievement gaps to exist. She's used it to question policies that limit opportunity for low-income families and to hold up and amplify the importance of volunteerism, service, and culture as tools for civic engagement. I personally have followed Ms. Ward's impact throughout much of her Target career, In an earlier part of my career as a K-12 building principal and as a deputy superintendent, I deeply valued Laisha's highly engaged work for and with this community's public schools. And later, after I came to the Humphrey School, I learned through her strategic actions just how much can be achieved in that fourth sector, where people from industry, from government, and from community organizations work together to address our most vexing public challenges. She is a woman who convenes, she hosts, and she sets incredibly high expectations for our collective work and our collective impact. Most recently, I had the opportunity to see this boundary-spanning talent when both Laisha and I traveled with the Minnesota Orchestra to South Africa last summer. Wherever we went, in cities in South Africa and in the townships, at the home of the U.S. ambassador to South Africa and in huts in the township of Soweto, I observed Laisha's incomparable ability to genuinely see and genuinely engage with people, regardless of their status, their role, or their title. It comes as no surprise to me that individuals from all over the country who happily, when asked, submitted letters of recommendation for this honorary doctorate spoke of the same thing. Their letters described a strategic leader who regularly engages with CEOs, with world leaders. Let me just digress my comments there for a moment and say, if you think you saw Laisha on the stage when Michelle Obama was in town, you did. And she engages with kindergartners. She is a leader who has a public policy background and the deepest commitment to public service. She has, for decades, worked tirelessly to advance the common good. The Humphrey School of Public Affairs has awarded very few honorary doctorates in its history. In fact, we have not awarded an honorary doctorate in a decade. And I am so very proud that today we do it again. So I invite to the podium Laisha Ward and also University of Minnesota Regent Ken Powell to confer the honor.
So I just have to say it is a special delight to recognize this afternoon someone who I know so very well, who spent much of her professional life helping to strengthen our Twin Cities. And I've seen her work over her very long career with my own eyes. So Laisha, it is so good to honor you today for everything that you have done. So I want to read an official citation now. Because you've dedicated your career to creating and nurturing relationships across private, public, and nonprofit sectors to drive positive community and business impact locally, nationally, and globally, because you're a mentor and champion for women, children, and people of color, and have brought tangible and lasting change to countless lives through your professional and personal endeavors. Because you are a purpose-driven leader who's passionately committed to combating disparities and creating opportunity for underrepresented groups, the Regents of the University of Minnesota, upon recommendation of the faculties, confer upon you, Laisha Ward, the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Wow. Good afternoon. Thank you, Dean Bloomberg, for this incredible honor. It's humbling, and I'm truly, truly grateful. Thanks also to Ken Powell and the other regents, faculty, staff, and students for inviting me to join you for this special occasion. I am so happy to be here. This is an honor I share with my amazing husband, Bill. You are my rock. My mom and dad who believed in me even before I believed in myself. I love you. And the rest of my family and network of colleagues and friends. In turn, I want to congratulate today's graduates on your outstanding accomplishments. You did it. I also like to acknowledge the Humphrey School for being ranked among the country's top 10 public affairs programs. That's right. This ranking is a testament to the professors, staff, and students who carry on the legacy of Hubert Humphrey and his commitment to social justice and human diversity. I stand before you as a kid who grew up in rural Indiana, who attended Head Start, which is a preschool program for low-income kids. Little Laisha would have never imagined joining this prestigious community, or all the opportunities I've had in my lifetime for that matter. As the old saying goes, where you start out in life doesn't dictate where you end. I didn't get to this moment alone. As my grandma would say, there are a few things in life you do well by yourself. We all stand on the shoulders of giants, family, friends, mentors, teachers, all the people who supported us in our dreams. We owe it to them, ourselves, and future generations to pay it forward, to do more to advance the common good, more than what is comfortable, and more than we even believe is within us. Looking back over the years you've been in this program, you've crushed it and accomplished so much. Group projects, countless presentations, and I've heard about the special bonding that occurs for those of you who had to take regression. You've been working hard for this day to come, and many of you are asking, what now? What impact will I have on people's lives? How will I change the world? Who's going to pay off my student loans? I see some of your parents out there shaking their heads saying, not me. But for right now, I want you to be present, fully present in this moment. Soak this up. This is a celebration of you, and we need you. We need every single one of you. There is a loss of trust in our institutions, a division in our conversations. These are tough and uncomfortable times, and we feel it everywhere, from the halls of Congress to the dinner table. But we have reason for optimism and hope. There are heroes among us who refuse to give in to cynicism, leaders who believe they can change the world, leaders who are authentic and purposeful, leaders like you. A few months ago, I had an opportunity to meet with some members of your class, including today's incredible student speaker, Rachel Dane. I heard their stories, their hopes and fears. They didn't hold back. And I walked away with confidence in our future. As you take this next step on your life's journey, remember, you're not alone. Continue to nurture the relationships you've developed from your Humphrey experience, as Rachel mentioned. Relationships with your classmates, teachers, and other members of this remarkable community. Keep building real human connections, especially in this increasingly digital world. I like to say there's the family you're born into and the family you make. Stay engaged as alumni and listen for those aha moments from mentors and others who provide inspiration and guidance. It warms my heart to have a few of my sources of Black girl magic here today. Trailblazing African-American women who've dedicated their lives to doing the hard and noble work. Dr. Retha Clark King, Wenda Weeks Moore, and Dr. Josie Johnson, some of the baddest sisters on the planet. thank you. Thank you for all that you've done, including opening doors and breaking glass ceilings for me and so many others. Another mentor was Mrs. Coretta Scott King, the late wife of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and a champion of civil and human rights. I met Mrs. King back in 2001 as part of a project I was working on at Target. While she taught me many lessons, one of the most foundational was to live a purpose-driven life. A purpose or calling serves as your GPS. It guides your life and the decisions you make. With purpose, you find meaning and have impact. With purpose, you call upon courage in the most challenging of times. With purpose, you discover joy. You've chosen paths that position you to tackle some of our biggest challenges, from civil and human rights to climate change to intergenerational poverty, the myriad issues that help define purpose. Issues that demand our best thinking, immediate action, sustained commitment, and bravery. We can't be stopped by fear. Fear the issues we're tackling are too big, too risky, too difficult to measure. Leadership isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to move through it. You will create pathways to opportunities that will literally change the trajectory of people's lives for generations to come. Living a life of purpose starts one step at a time. And one of the first steps is being your authentic self, unapologetically you, yet open to the stories and experiences of others. That's about building empathy. Now, don't just surround yourself with people who look like you, act like you, think like you, or talk like you. Different points of view and experiences can open the door to co-creating breakthrough ideas. Working together to find common ground and common sense solutions is possible. It's not always easy, especially these days when we often feel more divided than united. In order for us to move forward together and make progress, we sometimes have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Let me say that again. We sometimes have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I remember a time very early in my career when I was working with a group of cross-sector leaders. We started talking about preschool programs as a pathway to developing life and career skills. A member of our group threw shade at Head Start by saying, those people in that program are never going to be ready for the future workforce, characterizing the people and the program as deficit-based as opposed to asset-based. The comments were dismissive, totally disconnected from the dignity, the humanity, and the potential of the individuals and community. In that moment, I saw the faces of the kids, the families, and the teachers in my Head Start program who were taking steps towards a better life. I felt a responsibility to represent their voices. The room was loud and noisy, but I had a seat at the table, and so I said, I went to Head Start. Silence. But it turned out okay, because then the real conversation began. Many of you have had similar situations where you've been uncomfortable and had to work through the issue and the range of emotions you felt. And you had to decide if you were willing to speak up, even if it had negative consequences. We have to find the fortitude to lead, to ask probing questions, to say what needs to be said, and truly listen in order to facilitate courageous conversations. It's a skill set we have to work on, a muscle we have to build. My question for you is, how uncomfortable are you willing to get in service of your purpose? Your unique purpose matters. Your leadership matters. Your voice matters. Before I go, I want to share one more story. Many years ago, my boss was scheduled to speak at our company's big annual meeting, but couldn't because of a personal emergency. I was tapped to fill in. Now, this is a big event, over 10,000 leaders coming together to hear our strategy for the year ahead. I was one of a dozen or so speakers. All were seasoned executives, except for me, of course. And I had done almost no public speaking, and this was way outside of my comfort zone. It wasn't just nerves. As the first African-American woman to speak in that forum, I felt a heavy sense of obligation to the company, our employees, and all people of color. I wanted to effectively represent our shared story and to use that moment to open doors of opportunity for others. I needed a lifeline, and thankfully I had one. Mrs. King was backstage with me. I could have put on a brave face, and Lord knows I wanted to, but I managed to summon the nerve to tell her I was afraid. I had to be vulnerable, something I'm not very good at. This extraordinary woman laid her hand on my arm, looked me in the eye, and said, "You have earned the right to be here. Do what you have to do. Do what you've been called upon to do." Humphrey School of Public Affairs, class of 2019, you got this. You're ready to go out and do what you have to do, what you've been called upon to do. As you walk across this stage, remember, each of you has earned the right to be here. You are worthy. You are amazing. Step across this stage with confidence and courage. Step into hope, optimism, and opportunity. Step passionately into your purpose and into a world that needs you. This is your moment. This is your time. Congratulations, graduates.
Thank you so much, Laisha. You are my hero, and I am grateful that you're here. Now we come to what probably is the most anticipated part of the program. We will welcome a new class of graduates. Our graduates will be presented by faculty members specific to each of their degree programs, and they are all noted in your programs, in your printed programs. We'll start with our doctoral students. The Humphrey School PhD in Public Affairs program was launched in 2014 with a cohort of just 7 students. It has grown since then. But last year, 3 members of that initial cohort graduated, and today we celebrate 3 more who are completing their degree from that initial cohort. 2 of them are able to join us today. As you saw with our honorary doctorate of laws, academic tradition is that PhD students are hooded on stage by their faculty advisor or another faculty member who has particularly been important in their academic accomplishments. This is different than the process we use for master's degree students. You may have noticed that during the procession, the master's degree students or candidates all already are wearing their hoods, but our PhD candidates will carry them on stage for a ceremonial hooding. This is an important part of academic tradition, and what it symbolizes is a passing of the torch of sorts. Not that any of our faculty are planning to retire anytime soon, but the idea of putting a doctoral candidate on stage is to say that we give to you the next generation of academics, of theoreticians, of educators in higher education. It's a very esteemed and time-honored tradition. So we will hood our first 2 doctoral candidates and then begin the process of conferring degrees on our master's candidates. Our first PhD in Public Affairs recipient is Kirti Das. Kirti's track within the PhD program is Urban and Regional Planning, and the title of his dissertation is Neighborhood Impacts on Subjective Well-Being, Testing a Neighborhood Behavior Subjective Well-Being Framework using data from the Twin Cities. Kirti was hooded today by Professor Yingling Fan. I'm supposed to say, just for the record, I'm supposed to say Kirti will be hooded by Yingling Fan, but you all beat me to the applause, so I couldn't do that. Our next PhD recipient is Andrew Fang. Andrew's, go ahead, that's great. Andrew's track within the PhD of Public Affairs is Science, Technology, and Environmental Policy, and his dissertation is entitled Co-Benefits of Climate Policy, Examining the Distribution of Local Air Pollution and Health Benefits. Andrew is hooded today by Professor Anu Ramaswamy. Congratulations to both Kirti and Andrew. Very well-deserved recognition. It's now time for master's degrees. I would like to invite up to the front Regent Powell and Vice Provost Scott Lanyon to join me, and I would like to invite to this podium Professor Raghi Assad, co-director of the Master of Development Practice Program.
Sadiksha Aryal. Didier Bolanos. Nadia Bucklin. Samantha Cruz. Elizabeth Laferriere. Sydney Manibe. Sainyi Mbaye. Cameron Pera. Juliana Franco Ramos. Suravi Singh. Tyler Vogel. Congratulations to our Master of Development Practice graduates. I invite Director Barbara Fry to the podium.
Thank you. It gives me great pleasure to present the degree for the candidates for the degree of Masters of Human Rights, and I do so on behalf of the faculty in this joint degree of the College of Liberal Arts and the Humphrey School of Public Affairs, and along with my co-director of graduate studies, Dr. Jessica Stanton. Miriam Ahmed. Shelby Ray Ankrum. Haley Drozdowski. Alice Eaton. Benjamin Gronowski. Satchel Jacob. Ivan Lopez Justiniano. Allison Strong. Ain't Theory Thu. And Ana Vergara. Congratulations to our Master of Human Rights graduates. I invite Director Kevin Gertis to the podium.
As Director for the Mid-Career Master of Public Affairs, it's my honor to present the following individuals as candidates for this program. Fun Fan Cheng. Taisha Green. Judith Ann Harvey. Larry Hiscock. Danyika Leonard. Isaac Mitchell. Penny Norquist. Betsy Orn. Jovan Perry. Amanda Rosabach. Carrie Schneider. Congratulations to our Master of Public Affairs graduates. I invite Professor Jerry Zhao to the podium.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my great honor to present you students who will receive the degree of Master of Public Policy. Muiz Al-Radi. Abba Bar. Adam Bauer. Nathan Bin. Stephanie Best. Molly Binger. Eric Brunner. Julia Bergstoller. Lindsay Carella. Hannah Chong. Christoph Churchward. Emma Cornell. Charles Cox. Rachel Dam. Teresa de Vries. Jen DeSenza. Emma Dunn. Ashley Fisher. Hannah Foley. Sarah Gomo. Lindsay Hofer. Ashley Hoffman. Eric Homberg. Angelo Geramillo. Emma Kasky. Carissa Kemp. Catherine Keys. Gazamfa Khan. Maddie Klusner. Amy Johnson Koba. Omar Leo. Warren Lowell. Lauren Lynch. Jack Malone. Cameron McHugh. Akemi Mitchell. Asher Michael Allen. Hang Moore. Sarah Novak. Blam Ombongi. Akwa Yomo Opoku. Fadumu Osman. Nathan Parsons. Alana Pulowski. Haley Bloom Peterson. Kai Peterson. Lydia Fluger. Joshua Quinn. Salman Rahman. Hannah Rank. Catherine Ralphs. Elizabeth Richardson. Jonathan Ross. Hannah Luth. Taylor Sadek. Joseph Schuchbauer. Hannah Sharperman. Emma Schustrom. Christopher Sokta. Michael Sand. Ju Terrell. Julia Urban. Diana Vega. Sophie Wallstelt. Katie Welch. Adam Wilson. Sanina Sun. Ingyan Wu. K. Justin Yager. Congratulations to our Master of Public Policy graduate. Now I invite Assistant Professor Gabe Chan to the podium.
Great. Do I read something?
It's my distinct honor to now present the graduates of the Master of Science in Science, Technology, and Environmental Policy. Elizabeth Arnold. Andrew Butts. Lindsay Forsberg. Matt Grimley. Jacob Herbers. Eric Helgeson. Jordan Morgan. Eileen Kirby. Sarayu Anand. Chelsea Ray. Catherine Sauter. Lauren Schnobelin. Megan Chasso. Congratulations to our Masters of Science in Science, Technology, and Environmental Policy graduates. I now invite Associate Professor Ryan Allen to the podium.
It's my pleasure to announce the graduates of the Masters in Urban and Regional Planning. Todd Austin. Olivia Bershinger. Mary Cutrafello. Aaron Daly. Alexandra de Alquaz. Alina DeGredo. Christopher DeRoche. Claire Friesmeyer. Gianni Guo. Patrick Haney. Austin Huff. Trom Huang. Peggy Sue Ihmihi. Nick Kieser. Matthew Lupini. Daniel McNeil. Megan McSorley. Kausar Mohammed. Elizabeth Engels Morisi. Jacqueline Nowak. Catherine Page. Max Patzner. Benjamin Picone. Jonathan Reister. Kathleen Russell. Haley Sevening. Eric Thompson. Leoma Van Dut. Lauren Wahlberg. Congratulations to our Master of Urban and Regional Planning graduates. I invite Regent Ken Powell to the center podium for the conferral of degrees.
So I'd first like to ask all the graduates to now rise. Upon recommendation of the faculty and by the authority granted to the University of Minnesota Board of Regents, I now confer upon each of you the degree for which you've qualified. Congratulations.
Congratulations on your many accomplishments. You are now members of an august group of alumni throughout this community and throughout the world. To welcome you to the ranks of alumni, it is my pleasure to introduce a member of the Humphrey School Alumni Board, Sarah Burke. Sarah graduated from the Humphrey School with a master's in public policy in 2010. Her career has focused in social enterprises that connect strong business models with strong missions. As a program officer at the Family Housing Fund, Sarah strives to advance regional strategies to build and preserve affordable housing in the Twin Cities. In previous roles, she built statewide and rural community development partnerships at the Minnesota Housing Partnership and served as Director of Research and Development at the National Housing Partnership Network. She is also an alumni of the Fulbright program in Russia and currently serves as the President Emeritus of the Humphrey Alumni Society Board. Please join me in welcoming Sarah Burke.
Welcome to the Humphrey Alumni Society Class of 2019. On behalf of our Humphrey alumni community and the University of Minnesota Alumni Association, congratulations on your graduation today. It is such an honor to be here today with all of you and to learn a bit about who you are and the impact you're already making in the world. At my own commencement from the Humphrey School in 2010, I remember that many of us did not yet know where we were going, how we would put our skills and commitment to the common good to work. I've watched and cheered along ever since as my classmates have scattered through the Twin Cities, the country, and the world, and become established as experts and leaders in their fields. As a member of the Alumni Board for the last 5 years, I've served along an even broader group of alumni, leaders from different eras of the Humphrey School, and I've been consistently inspired by their skills, accomplishments, and convictions. So whether or not you have a clear sense of your path ahead today, and you may because you are graduating into a stronger economy than we did back then, please know that you are in excellent company and your fellow alumni will rely on you and cheer you on as fellow members of a connected community. The diploma covers you received today are a welcome gift from the Alumni Society of the Humphrey School, and they're a reminder that you are now one of us. So as you go out into the world, there are many ways to remain engaged with the school, be a mentor, help to recruit new students, be available to share your career insights with students and fellow alumni, and serve as a leader on the alumni board with us one day. You can keep in touch with your classmates by founding yet another in a long tradition of Humphrey alumni book clubs. And, for me, staying engaged in all of these ways has enriched my professional journey and has made the 2 years I spent as a student here seem like an investment that continues to yield rewards. Today, you become an ambassador of one of the nation's top public policy and planning schools. So don't underestimate the opportunities that your training will afford you or the respect the Humphrey brand carries. Use these to make a positive, permanent difference. And do memorize a few key Hubert H. Humphrey quotes to drop into conversations so that you can fully embody the best of the happy warrior tradition that inspires us. I apologize for taking this one out of context, but I think it fits. Let us remember to march in such a way that others will wish to join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. She wasn't kidding when she said we have an impressive group of alumni and alumni board members, and I do hope that many of you will consider that kind of leadership role in the future. On behalf of the Humphrey School community, I want to congratulate all of you on a job well done, students, family members, friends, and faculty members. A special thanks to all of you in the audience, again, who have supported these men and women on this journey. We're glad that you're here. And now it's time to celebrate. I have not looked out a window in the last couple of hours. I'm guessing you haven't either. I'm hoping the rain has held off. My weather app on my phone told me it would. We will have a reception out the doors and outside, but there is a tent. So even if there's a little rain, we should be fine. Thank you so much for being here. I want to just tell you that I'm leaving today both immensely proud of our graduates, and I'm taking away two key messages from today. One is from our commencement speaker, and that message is you have earned a place at the table. And another is from our student speaker, who says it's all about relationships, people. Keep it going, okay? So thank you so much. That concludes our official commencement ceremonies. The faculty will process out, followed by the students, and we'll see you outside for the reception. Thank you.